Today's guest is Thirak Rochin, a therapist and mindfulness expert with 21 years experience in personal development. She specializes in transforming challenges into opportunities for growth, including overcoming eating disorders, body image issues, family dynamics, relationships, as well as helping individuals to find balance and fulfillment. In addition to her private practice, Thirak is a leader and senior facilitator of Path Retreats, and she also runs mother medicine workshops offering rites of passage for mothers. We're in for a treat today. Welcome, Thirak.
Thank you. Thank you for your trust of inviting me to have conversations.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm excited to share you with the audience.
Yes, and like I was sharing with you, this is one of my biggest passion to work with people when they're in that turning point in their life. I just feel like this is my favorite thing to work with. Yeah, and what comes to mind is the card in the tarot of the Fool.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it? Like it's someone about to take a jump to, to the emptiness. And I
Yeah.
love that because I feel like turning points are like that in our life. And so, yes, nice to talk about this topic.
Yeah. I think I've been that fool jumping into the emptiness many times.
Couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, Tirak, I'm curious, before we get into your turning point, I'm curious what life was like for you before your pivotal moment and also what you were like as a person.
Yes, that makes me smile, when I see photos of me. Of course, I was born in Mexico and I grew up there. And my mother is a lawyer, and very involved in politics. So I grew up in that world in the, yes, north of Mexico. So we have a lot of influence from America. So it's a lot about how what you have, how you look, what's your profession, and I grew up like that. Yeah. And of course I developed bulimia. That's where my passion comes from, working with eating disorder, because I was really focused on the image and my achievements and um, looking outside to heal the emptiness that was happening in my heart. So I was really hungry, we can say, when we talk about bulimia, of something that it couldn't be fulfilled with something from the outside. And interesting, while I'm talking, I just it comes to my mind this image of I used to go to America to buy clothes, and I just remember in the hotel room having the clothes, um, the bed full of clothes, and feel like I didn't buy enough. So it was like I could feel that big emptiness, and I was really, like focus on feeling that emptiness through the job I was doing. And I found the best man I could find, because my ex-husband was actually really fantastic man, really hardworking, like I was doing all the right things of, became a lawyer like my mom, got the great husband, and I have everything outside and I feel so empty,
Mm.
working and going on the weekends and drink and, in some circles, like chasing my tail, wanting to find something different. So, yes, yes,
Mm.
that, yeah.
And so, how did you come to the point where you realized you weren't happy and that you needed to make a change, or did that come onto you out of your choice? Was it forced upon you, or did you make a conscious choice?
Well, I feel like it was a few things happening. My dad went bankrupt in a very successful business, so he has to, like that really changed something in my life with, like shame and, things around money and confusion of my whole identity. And then I got into, of course, drugs and wanting to find some deeper meaning or trying to avoid the pain and all that together. And at the same time, trying to heal my bulimia. And and in all that, going to psychologists and psychiatrists and shamans. And I met one shaman in Mexico, and I just visited a psychiatrist, and I was about to take the Prozac and the whole cocktail because I feel enough is enough.
Mm.
And just before that, I went to the pharmacy, and then I went to see this man and this shaman, and I saw something in his eyes. And I say, when he opened the door of his session room, I say, I'm not going to go until I get what you have in your eyes.
Mm.
And he says, well, welcome. And I have a session with him probably around 3.5 hours. And then something happened to me that I felt like, wow, this is what I'm looking for through drugs and through anything.
Mm.
And it was the first time that I could actually see how skinny I was, with my eating disorders. I have no perception of my body. I was such a fixation to be skinny and to look in certain way that I completely disconnect with my body and how did I look. And that was the first time I was like, my God, I'm like a bone walking. And so something started really shifting then. And then I started doing a lot of work with the mystery school in Mexico, who did a lot of Castañeda thing. But I always felt like very confused between wanting to stay in the work and having money and really following that part. So I couldn't kind of do a movement. I felt a level of stuckness that, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get that to that point where they know life's not working, and then there's the money, the attraction of the money on one side, and security, which if you're listening, I'm holding that in inverted commas, the security of work, which I was just talking to somebody yesterday. It's always an illusion, the security, because it could end at any moment. But
Yeah.
the money and the security, and then there's the call of the heart and the call of where do I want to go? Where is the calling and the resistance in that?
Yes. And it was interesting because at that point, I mean, this was probably 25 years ago, in Mexico where I grew up, and in the society where I grew up. I mean, yoga and meditation was not, I mean, right now everybody, do a yoga class and, do medicine plans. It's more integrated, I think so.
Mm.
But then I feel very alone. I feel like almost like hiding from everybody to do my meditation and to be with this group. It was like a, secret that I have to. Yes. And when my parents find out, and my ex-husband, they really say like, like, or you stop, or, like, I won't marry with you. And my parents is like, there's no money, there's no support for you if you're doing that. So I felt I have to, well, I didn't have to, but I decided to say like, okay, that's it. I get married, I do the right thing, and, keep focusing in being a lawyer and having a normal work. So I couldn't really have the capacity and the courage of really stepping out of that, because I'm a very community oriented people, and that's
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, the tribe, the tribe that we're in, even if they're not meeting our needs, or doesn't feel aligned with what we truly want, how hard it can be for people to go out of the tribe, feel loneliness or abandonment or whatever, lost or whatever that might be. and then the time it takes to develop a new tribe,
Yeah.
it can be really, a point of discomfort for a long time of finding the new tribe.
Yes, and it's also, it's like, that's what's normal. That's what normal. So I have to face, well, it's something wrong with me that I'm not fulfilled. Is it abnormal that I don't feel fulfilled with all these things? It's like I feel I was really alone in that wanting and in that need, when like everybody looks so happy and looks so fulfilled, and so I feel very alone. And that's why I feel like that's when I feel India was very healing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. And so you were married, you're working as a lawyer, and then somehow you made the decision to go to India.
Well, it was very, very interesting because my ex-husband come from a very beautiful but very traditional family. And in that time, I don't know right now, but in that time, the women were just doing more the traditional roles, and I was not. I was working, and I wasn't there, and I have something to say, and how it happened is like my father-in-law, ex-father-in-law, talked to my ex-husband and say, you have to stop her. It's like, I don't know what kind of pressure, but what I do remember is like my ex-husband told me, hey, actually stop working. I was working in hotel in sales in Los Cabos, which is a very American kind of place in Mexico. So with all that philosophy, like really focus on making money. And then my husband says, hey, stop. I was talking with my dad, and we're going to open a yoga studio for you so you can do the things you like to do and stop doing the work. What it sounded for me, that's how I hear it. This is for the men, and you do your thing. And it was really interesting because I think everybody thought I was going to fight. So, and what I say is like, great, give me your credit card. And I booked a ticket for India. I
Yeah.
think India was been always in my heart. I always wanted to go there. And I mean, that smell of the incense, the chantings, everything was like, I need to go there. I need to get there. So when that happened, it was just like, boom, I'll do that. And I book a flight, and I book a yoga training over there. And what I really wanted to go is to the Osho ashram.
Mm-hmm.
My husband says you can go anywhere, but just don't go to Osho ashram.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine how it went.
I think there was probably a lot of people that had that conversation with loved ones where they said, don't go to the Osho ashram.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. They were right.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. They don't want you to change. They want to
Yeah.
lose you.
Yes. And yes. And but that's what I was talking with you before, is like, I don't know how this mystery work, because obviously it wasn't my destiny of that option of following that call or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could have fight and say no, but I just didn't resist, and I say yes to that. And even just talking about it right now, I feel become emotional, and my whole body, like this memory of really landing to India, like really responding to a call from an from your soul. Or I just knew the place. I just knew I needed to be there. And I thought, because I'm Mexican and Mexico is chaotic, it's not going to surprise me, but it did. It shocked me. It's like my eyes were like wide open. What is this place? And of course, it changed my life.
Mm. What struck you as different from India to Mexico to India?
I think it's a chaos, but it works.
Mm.
It's really functional chaos. And it's almost like I have to drop my structure in order to, I have to access a different place in me to function in India. And I think it really forces something, at least this is what happened to me, in India, where it's like, for example, there's a lot of poverty in India, but there's a lot of resentment in poor people of like, this is injustice, as it's not okay. Of course, it's not okay. It's a government of corruption. And so there's a lot of pain in that. And in India, it's a lot of like, well, that's my incarnation. So there's a surrender to what is. And in that, people feel their pain, but there's also an innocence and there's a richness in a big surrender to life. That is not my will, it's a bigger will that you operate from that. I feel like it gave me the opportunity to access to that place. And of course, nobody, I didn't know anybody in India, so I could just follow what I needed to do, with any expectation. I don't know, I just find it's an incredibly magical place. It has to be with thousands of years, centuries, like people going to India with that intention of finding something deeper, that that it comes from the inside. How many travelers, fellow seekers have gone there? How many seekers gone there to just, it needs to be here, it needs to, so it contains you. There's an atmosphere there that supports you. If you're going with that intention, I feel like you've been guided to find the right tribe and the right people. And yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was probably very validating to go, I came here and I'm not the only one seeking. There's all these other people seeking the truth or seeking themselves or seeking enlightenment or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the first place where I went is like a fancy retreat in Goa, and they were teachers, they were with this very, I don't know how I booked that retreat, but they were already super pros, yogi, already teachers, and then here I come to learn yoga. But the teacher was amazing, and so it was this kind of achieving thing of meditation, like in the same taxi that I took from the airport. There were two girls from Beverly Hills that they came with their super fancy Louis Vuitton bag. One went back to LA the next day. It was too much India, because India has that ability, or you love it or you hate
Yeah.
it. And I just started doing the yoga retreat, and it was very intense. It was full on training, and I started feeling very restless. And then I got sick, with the Indian food, and of course the Indian belly. But every day I was sending messages to Pune and emails and calls, where the Osho ashram is, because I feel like my soul was saying, like, yes, you're here, but you're not there. And I was calling, so should I just come in, and is there any space? And I got sick. And then the yoga teacher told me, you know what, you just need to go to Pune, just get a plane and go there. And it's true. I took a plane, arrived to Pune, and no sickness. I just feel I needed to be there. And that's what I really found, people living the way I was looking for. Like, they were really just trying then to find themselves, trying to find something deeper. And the interesting thing, like I was coming very like a serious meditator, you know, to meditate and be in silence. And what struck me is like it was so much dance and so much fun and so much joy for being alive and community and to kind of do all that, how do you say, like transformation, but through also celebration. And it's just very interesting experience to digest for me. But yes, I started feeling a sense of something else was possible. You know, like I was meeting people that says, yeah, I've been traveling for 2 years, and it's like, how do they live? You know, it's like, so it felt for me like they disconnected from some deep conditioning, and they started living from enjoying life and, of course, working, but through we came to live, not to work and follow all these. I don't know, it just did something very strong in my conditioning to be there. And I did a workshop there. That was the only one that did this time, which is it's Satori, that you just sit there for hours and they just ask you a koan. The koan is a question that doesn't have an answer from the mind. It just have an experience that comes from, of course, from your being. And I remember the question was like, who is in? And it's like who is in? But from, 5 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, asking you the same question. Tell me who is in. Tell me who is in. And at some point, I literally feel I was going to die. Yes, because when I say, oh, well, I'm a lawyer, I'm this, I'm Mexican, da. When I didn't know what else to say, or just repeating myself, I got to a point that I honestly feel I was going to die. And I thought, I'm going to die here in bloody India. And I felt I was like, no, I couldn't breathe. And it was my mind. And I just remember calling the facilitator and saying, I'm going to die. I need you to call a doctor. And he says, just keep asking the question. And I was, what? They're not taking me serious. But I did. I keep asking the question until I have an experience of realizing like everything that I thought I was. It was like what my mother wanted for me, what my society wanted for me, but who am I? I don't know. And it came like an experience of something mysterious. And I just felt like, this is it. This is what I want to do the rest of my life. That's my new profession. I want to become a seeker. And it really completely changed my life. And I feel that comes from that kind of strong atmosphere that only India has. Yeah.
And who did you discover that you were?
Well, it was just an experience of something I don't know how to describe, but it's very mysterious. And I just know like everything I thought I was. It was like they just, crumbled in front of me. And I was just this nothingness. And it's like, who am I? It was just a deep curiosity that arise, that it's like, what is this that I'm feeling? Very difficult to describe, but it's like something mysterious to cover. And I feel it's like, that's it. I'm going for that. And of course, I went back. I changed my ticket and went back to Mexico because I feel like I need to do what I need to do to come back and start living my life. And I guess like my legal name was Laura, and I took the name of Thirak and for me, what it meant to to have this new name was like, I don't know who I am, and I want to know who I am. So that was kind of the initiation into this exploration of like, I wanted to be full of this new thing that so it's almost like yes, another turning point.
Mm.
Yes.
So who are you? I am nothing. Is that, and then I want to keep being nothing.
Yes. Well, that's the question. That's the life question that keeps haunting me, and it's not an answer. It's like an experience that keeps manifesting in different ways in my life. And sometimes it's really crystallized and really fixating in my structure, and I go back into doing and working and pleasing and fixing, and sometimes it's just like, like really, that's it. That's what it is all about. To just really, who am I really?
Mm.
That and I feel we all have those experiences when we just feel lost in a sunset, or in the desert, or in the mountains, where you feel like, "Oh, it's not about me and my nagging mind that I need to make more money or be better or what." It's just an easiness that it's like it's here, it's here. Not right now, I'm here. And that's what I feel that happened there in that experience. That I feel like, this is it. It's nothing I need to do or fix. Or, and of course, it goes away.
Yes, it does. And
Yeah.
what I often say, and I think I've said it quite a few times on the podcast, is that enlightenment is temporary, and we forget, but somehow we've changed. And so there's these aha moments. This is what it's like. I'm going to stay like this forever. And then of course it's gone, but somehow we've changed as humans, and with our conscious awareness, sometimes there's this shift. And did you find that for you when you're, and you called it structure, right? So we mean sort of the personality structure, and the way that you sort of like rules that you follow, or that when the mind takes control, it follows these certain rules or these ways of being to try and control everything. Is that a good description, or do you have an expansion on that?
Yes, I feel as it's like the very intelligent strategy we find when we were very young to survive. When we disconnect from that, like bigness and playfulness and that you feel in newborn kids. When we start disconnected from that, we create something that I can be a personality that is gonna, I can be the pleaser and always, or be the good girl or the good boy, or the bad guy or the achiever, the ones that makes the money. Or and then we identify like, I am that. If I don't have the money and I'm the boss, or I'm like the one fixing everybody's problems, so then we feel we're nothing.
Hmm.
Anyway, I don't know if I make it more confusing or.
No, that makes sense to me. and
Yes,
and, and then
believe we are that, we
Mhm.
believe we are the lawyer, the good daughter and the good therapist, but this is just identities that we have and help us to function in the world. But what else is there?
Yeah.
Who's taking these identities, and what will happen if this identity falls? How they
Mm.
do? One day I'm a good therapist and the next day I'm not.
Yeah.
And a very bad session and boom, I crumble. So it's something deeper, something that nothing is gonna be, nobody's gonna take away. And that became kind of my, yes, curiosity where it went.
Mm.
It's interesting because you say like, enlightenment. And I feel when I started kind of exploring, after Satori, and and India, I got really fixated in enlightenment and, going into Ladakh and meditating in the temples and Vipassanas, and everything was about enlightenment. And then when I did Path of Love, which is another beautiful process that was also a big turning point when I find a lot of healing through community and to relationships. The leader of that Path of Love used a lot like Turiya to become a real human being. And I was like, what is that real human being? Like it always haunted me, like, what do you mean a real human being? Like I'm a human being. I want to get enlightened. I want to beyond humans. I want to be just a spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that really starts shifting something in me. Instead of wanting to transcend being human, I was really like, how does it actually feel to be really human? To really be here, not hiding through my programs and my structure and I don't feel anything, or I'm already enlightened, so you an evolved human. So it just, my curiosity was like to explore that part and what that meant. And it attracted me more to study and know and try to meet Sufis, which for me, how I understand it is the part of the like the spiritual teachers that they're really in the world. They have kids, the butcher, they're really in the marketplace. And
Mm.
it's well into like, trying to descend to the mountain to really, what will it take for me to be human? And there is a part in the process of Path of Love when you explore your commitment in your life and to the work, and you're committing to do this process because it's quite an intense. And I remember when I did the process as participant, I remember saying, I'm committed to die. I'm committed to do anything. I'm committed to die. And then something hit me like a deep shakiness in my whole body. And then I say, actually, I'm committed to live. And then that's where it hit me like, wow, to really be a human, I have to feel everything, the pain, the joy, everything that it means to be human. And yes, that's where my passion is now, to explore how does it feel to be human from that consciousness, from that being in this body and the mystery at the same time. Yeah.
Mm.
Like this what I have, the image that comes. I mean, of course I'm from Mexico with this Catholic background, but what it comes with the cross is like that place in the center of like, I'm a spiritual being, but I'm a human experience. And how can I walk with that memory of being human and being connected to the mystery? And that's where, yeah, I love to walk that age and try to remember, because we know it's like, it's very easy to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
Yeah. And I'm smiling because I love that beauty of being in the center of the X, but also there's so much beauty when I get away from that and get caught up in being too human. Right? I get lost in my structure and I'm trying to control things, or I'm worrying about the future, or stuck in the past.
Mm,
And then the beauty of the remembering and coming back to being both the spiritual being and the human at the same time.
mm.
Do you have, when that happens to you, when you get caught in your structure, what helps you to come back to being both, being back in that center?
Well, I feel like a lot of compassion, like to feel like, of course, that's what I do, that's what I go in automatic. And what would support me to come back here is like being with myself, like don't abandon, like, oh, you're just such a bad spiritual, whatever. But it's like, yes, of course, that's the mystery of being human, that we go to sleep, and then we are given those moments when you remember something bigger. And it's like, of course, I spend most of my time sleep, and then something happened, a piece of poetry or something, someone talking about death. Like, I love that, to bring people talking about death, because that reminds me of, like, hey, it wakes me up. It is like to be alive, to be, hey, here it is. Remember who you are and what's important. And yes, it really, I mean, I know I love meditation, but I also love, and I think that's what I really love about this process, path of love, that through community and through connection with other people is almost, we remember to, it's like having a mirror to remember really who we are, and that it's okay to live from that place. Because of course society pull us into living from the other place. It's really rewarder, and you have money, you have the car, you have blah blah blah. But to live from this place, for me, it really nourished my soul, that to have the mirroring of other people, like, yes, there you are, that's it. And it really changed my whole biology and neurology and everything. And it's like, oh, this is me, and I'm supposed to be me, and it's okay to be this. And so that's some of the, I have a regular practice of once a week to do inquiry, because that really bring me back into reconnecting through being in contact with the other. And of course, I feel very lucky that I have a job that calls me into being into presence. I need to be connected with that presence and with some bigger holding, so I can really be with people. So in that sense, I feel very lucky, and I try to remember, because I come back home, and you know how it is, like the husband says something, and or like the person I want to be more alive and aware is with my son. And sometimes it's like, yeah, but I need to clean the house and do the dishes. I make something things that are very important for my structure. And I'm not saying, like, of course you need to clean the house and do the dishes and cook, but sometimes I overdo it out of, have to do it and I have to clean, and I forget the most important things like really nourish my soul. So that's the dance, and that's also being human. That's what I love the Sufis, that they read poems to the divine. I have it and then I lost it, where are you? We were lovers and you kissed me and then you're gone. And it's like, yes, it is like that, at least for me. I'm not elated, and then I beat myself and have to catch myself. But yeah, gratitude also. The whole war and conflict with Israel and Palestine, it just brings me to my knees to say, oh my God, I'm so grateful. Just remember, be alive. Look what I have. So I think there's so many devices we can use to keep coming back and keep coming back, through community, through meditation, through putting some water on your face. And as I say, like my work it really supports me to go back to that space.
So Thirak, when you were talking then, I thought of this poem that I wrote recently, and I thought I'll be brave and read it to you. And I'm not seeking your thoughts on the poem itself, as in, is it good or whatever that might be, but more any insights that come. And it's basically about the human experience and how things can happen to us in life, and we withdraw and we shrink. So I'll read it, and we can have a chat, and we'll just see what comes. Yeah. I was running through the park, wild and free. My mother shouted, "Be careful." I kicked my toe and fell. Ouch. Blood trailed down my shin. No more running for me. I gave my father a flower, a giant to my small, pure hand. "That's nice," he said. Then he left it on a rock. No more flower giving for me. I was sitting in class, my hand in the air, and the teacher called on me. Huffing, she said, I was wrong. The kids laughed as she tried not to smile. No more hands up for me. I was sleeping in the woods, listening to the trees breathe and the soft crunching of animals at night. In the morning, I stood up and my back was sore. No more sleeping rough for me. We entwined fingers in the evening and she said it was forever. And time passed and she was gone. She lied. My heart was broken. No more hand holding for me. I was walking under the stars and dark clouds extinguished their light one by one. It rained. I was wet. I was cold. Soaked through, I shivered all the way home. No more walking under the stars for me. Now I lay in this bed, my body old, broken, failing, stuck in old photographs of the past, thinking of places I wished I'd been, of beautiful sparks when eyes met and the words were left unspoken, and how I wish I used my voice to speak my longing and used my hands to create my masterpiece, and in the creating not shrunk as I judged it so. What life could have been. If only I'd lent into the pain and not pulled my reins tight on love, held up a mirror to see the light in my own eyes and trusted the gifts I wanted to share. If only I'd looked at the dark black coal of my memories and seen that they were diamonds. They were diamonds. If only I'd looked. Like burnt coals in a fire, things cannot be undone. And how I wish I truly lived. And all I have left now, if I choose, is love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, that talks to what we've been speaking, yeah? Like to feel it all. Yeah? It's like somehow we learn to contract and not to feel the rejection and the pain, and we learn to sacrifice of the diamonds of who we are. And that's the work, that's the work to like, yes, I'm gonna have broken wings and heartbroken, but I leave it all, I dare to be human and feel it all, and I didn't trust my structure and the school teacher and the kids. I trust my heart that needed to sing and I needed to be alive and feel it all. It's like that's the work of being humans, and that's what a gift to be human, what a mystery to feel it all. Yeah. It's little things in the universe, and we can feel so much, and we can be so mysterious. And honestly, the stories like we some of us carry, was like, my God, how did we survive? So I guess the journey is to support that integration of the healing and trusting the human, trusting the heart, trusting the capacity. And it's incredible how since very young we learn to trust the outside instead of the inside. Yeah. Of course, we didn't have the capacity to say like, oh my God, they're crazy, they don't know about poetry, they don't know, are just thinking and making money, and we don't value that. I mean, it's what a grief, no, that we don't value those diamonds. And I think that's the real work, more than getting enlightened, is to dare to trust love and you becoming the diamond. Beautiful, beautiful poetry. I mean, I always love that your music that comes from your heart, and but also what it comes from that pain. No, most beautiful music and poetry come from a rainy day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you said that, I just remembered that there was a song that I wrote because of you. And my wife and I, Prue, we came and we did a white essence workshop with you. And there was a song, and if people are listening, you can listen to it on Spotify. It's called Give Me the Grace. And that song I wrote the morning after I had done a workshop with you and Davey. And there was, I might get you to describe. So in the song, there's this line, but in Give Me the Grace, it's about, I feel like I'm in suffering and it's not ending. It's just going and going. And something in the workshop. And when I did the workshop, I felt that way. I'd come to the workshop and I'd felt like life had just lost its sparkle, and it was just challenging, and it'd been going for months. And I wasn't depressed, but it was just like, what's happened? Life's lost its sparkle. And there's a line in the song, and it's come back to the white. And the workshop I did with you was about the white essence, which, and I might have this right, I might have distorted it over time, but the white essence is from Sufi tradition, and in that, inside all of us is a white mountain, and it's like a white marble mountain, and it's very strong, unbreakable, and that is trust. Is that a fair description of the white essence?
Yes, it's the trust. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of elements to the white, but it's, you describe it very beautiful. It's like when we lose it, it's like it's my will. When you trust, it's thy will. You want me to feel that, let me feel it. Instead of like, I take it away, what's going on? It's like, okay, let me, thy will, I surrender to that thy will and that I have what it takes to face the challenges of my life, and connecting to that white mountain inside of me that is holding me, like the bigger holding that I have. So very beautiful.
Thank you. And Thirak, when you're in India and you're going through all these experiences, what was happening with your bulimia?
Well, actually, it's very interesting because it was the first time when I did Path of Love that I really talk about it openly and explore it and took it out from the hiding. But I feel also what I discovered in my experience about the bulimia was living in that, like in Mexico, with all the restriction, doing what my conditioning, what I supposed to do. That was the only way to, it's like have some kind of boundary or out of myself and some control, and to decide to live a different life, to have the courage and to be open to that community, just really heal something that, no psychiatry, psychology, therapy done before, or maybe it was accumulation of all the work I did, and then suddenly when I could have the courage to live my life how I needed to live it, then it disappeared. I realized it was a big friend. I created a monster, and it was my only companion that will hold the pain and help me to kind of deal with the pain And I learned to very different ways to deal with the pain, and that actually like exposure work or many other ways to deal with the pain, and the pain was transformed in a part of me, like you say, an essential quality that was missing. And so then I didn't need that bulimia to deal with my life and my process. It was like a bad crutch that I needed to have some outlet to the stress and the tension and the disconnection. And yeah, so it really, yes, change.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
Mm.
And in your notes, I remember that you wrote something about riding a motorbike around India. You went on an adventure.
Yes, I mean, that's another big love affair I have with India. With my ex-partner, I mean, I didn't ride the motorbike. I was just sitting on the back of his motorbike. And we did the trip a few times. I can remember it 4 or 5 times. And it's like, it brought so much healing for me to be in that adventure, from Spiti to Ladakh, and we went to Kashmir. But it was actually quite an intense trip. Like it really stretches, especially for me, coming from a very protected upbringing. Yes, to go and do that. I remember the first time that we have a very difficult climbing, riding the motorbike to the top of the first pass. It was just a few landslide and a few times that happened on the road. And when we got to the top of the mountain, it just opened up through the other side of the valley, and I saw the peaks of the Himalayas, that untouched part of the planet that it only opened 2 or 3 months a year for humans to come and see. And I feel for me it was a lot like that's the journey. You do all this work and all this stumble, and then one day, like a mystery, something open up and you say, this is it. Now I remember that's what it's all about. And of course, moments like that in the mountains, I have so many that I feel like, I don't want to come back from this one. And I also have the opportunity to watch my mind, like how sometimes I couldn't, just so fixated in like, wait, we have to get to the next stop when it's safe, and then you get to the hotel, and it's like I realize I don't enjoy the journey. Look, everything that is around, to be fixated in the goal or the preoccupation. What about if I die? What about if whatever? Yes, and just to see that, it was really interesting to see the like the chatting of the mind and try to create space. Or God, that's how I live my life. And I survived, and it was beautiful, and I did it a few times, and I feel there's a lot of reflection also of life, like can be like that. Anyway, there's so many I could, we can have another talk just about that, because I
Yeah.
love the mountains. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, I would love to have another chat sometime where we can go deeper on that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And
India.
yeah. And Tarek, something I noticed about your writing when you were writing some of your notes for me, you have a really beautiful writing style. And I'm curious, do you have plans to write a book or anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, maybe
No.
I'm planting the seeds because
Oh, no, 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 no. And then in English less, because I feel like English is not kind of my expression. So it's always an extra effort to write in English. And
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So no, no. I
okay.
feel like I just love what happened working with people and my clients, and that's really fulfilling. That's where
Yeah.
my energy and my passion is,
Mm,
and the rest, I will say it's my family and my son, like,
mhm.
and then I just work a
Yeah.
little. But then, yes, I feel very protective of my space and my time with the family. So to think in writing a book, but who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
when I'm older and retire, and I'll do it in Spanish and someone translate it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I feel you have a gift with storytelling and a gift with language. So
mm,
I'll leave that there. We'll just
yes.
I'll pop that there, right? I've got something that you wrote here, and it said, in reflecting on these turning points in my life, I'm reminded that our journeys are not just about physical places, but the profound inner journeys they inspire.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's that's India.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
what man, that's life. Is true. Yes, it's true.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
all about, that transformation that's happening, the richness that, I mean, I can think in so many people that through traveling that touched my life and that created a whole turning point. And yeah, and we can have another conversation about just the turning point of becoming a mother.
Yeah.
It's a whole different traveling and journey, like the other side of life.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm. And if you could, if this question's a bit different, but if you could have dinner with three inspiring guests, so people that inspire you, and you could sit down and have a meal with them, and it doesn't have to be somebody that's alive now, but who would you invite?
Well, I mean, what comes to mind right now is people I'm really into at the moment, like
Yeah.
Stephen Jenkinson and Francis Weller, and an indigenous man that I forgot his name, but yes, it's American Indian guy.
Mhm. Mm.
Yes, I love to know more about the indigenous way of life, how to survive, how to be in nature, how to become wild again. I love to have those conversations. I feel like it's in me, and then I love to become wild again, and be able to transmit that to my child. So I will ask for all these indigenous teachers to initiate me into that practice. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Inshallah. I hope they come.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I feel that part of the indigenous way of life was such a depth of listening, such
Mm,
a, just such a connection to nature and listening, that expansion and that connection to existence that happens when we truly still and we listen to nature, and that we become so attuned to everything around us. And I feel that that was a very conscious way of living and experiencing the beauty of nature and existence, and that the nothingness that can come when we just become immersed in nature and listening to that nature as we are nature and part of nature, not separate, which we have the illusion now. I'm not saying it for you, but I know definitely for me, I can get caught in that illusion that I'm in control, whereas I'm just actually a speck of dust or a speck of sand on the beach, and there's billions of other specks of sands, and in a moment I could get washed down to another beach or out into the ocean. But that I am a part of nature. I am not separate. I am not in control. And I love the indigenous perspectives of being the caretakers, and that there was truly a connection to the ancient ways of life and their ancient ways of listening and being able to hear not just nature but consciousness in that state.
Yes, and I just watched this documental by around climate change with Michael Shawn and Michelle Walter. You know her. You know, she's very involved in that work, and they interview American Indian, and he says that when they come, I mean, I'm not gonna say it exactly how he say it, but the idea is like indigenous people, they come and it's a gift to be here. You know, they're in this heaven, like the gods let them be here. And then we Catholic Christians, we come like that this is hell, and then you go to heaven. Yeah. So then it's a very different relationship we have to. You've been punished almost, like we better take everything because we go to hell, to heaven. Yes. So it's beautiful to hear how they already come into this place with that devotion and that. But I have to say, I have my own story. Maybe we're getting to the end of the interview, but I just want to say, when I arrived to live in Australia, I grew up with a phobia with frogs. I arrived to live in Australia.
Yeah.
Good luck. And my teacher, or my, you know, like I've been doing therapy for a long time with her, and she will send me to the bush. That was my therapy, to go into the bush until I feel safe. And so, yeah, I spent a lot of times in the Gurungeri National Park, just laying there and going on my own to, and it's true, it's such a safe place, you know. In my mind, I made it like it's such unsafe, but it's so much healing can happen through reconnected to nature. And yeah. This is a good place to explore.
Yeah. So true. And so the work that you do now, so you work with one-to-one clients and you also do work with Path of Love. We've talked about a bit of Path of Love, and I was curious about, I'm just looking at my notes to get this right, the mother medicine workshops and the rites of passage for mothers.
Yes. Yes, you're curious about Path of Love or mother medicine, or both?
The mother medicine. So if I'll put a link in the show notes for people for whatever you would like me to put in there also, but I'll put a link in for Path of Love. And for anybody that's listening, that too was one of the turning points in my life and one of the most profound experiences that I have had for myself, but I've also seen probably 300 other people go through that process and seen how profound it is for them. So highly recommended for anybody if you're thinking about exploring how you are in the world and how you want to be in the world. But I'm curious about the mother medicine.
Yes. Yeah, no, I have to say Path of Love was a turning point for me also. That's what I love it, and I work in it because I know it works, you know, it works in my life. And this very beautiful work, mother medicine, I feel like so much happened when mothers come together. They have so much wisdom and love. So it's like creating this kind of community and tribe of mother. And we have so many expectations as a mother. Yeah, you have to be the most loving and work and look like that and be perfect. And so it's a lot about sharing our stories and bringing so healing to the imperfection that is so perfect, how we are as mother. And it's very special because honestly, when you open those circles, I think mothers carry so much wisdom. Like, I cannot say, like, almost like we hold the group, but it comes through much through the when you unleash that power of the heart of the mother. It's like, and learning to trust that, to that intuition, because we have so many ideas also in society how to be a mother and have to do this and not be too loving and not be too harsh and don't speak like, and it's like, it's really redirecting or supporting mothers to reconnect with their heart and their intuition. And that's and what's in the way to trust in that, because like honestly every mother that comes is like they know how to be a mother, they know how to mother other. It's something really powerful to witness. It's very beautiful. And mothers, I feel like sometimes we're really isolated, like dealing with everything alone. So to have other mothers and a community and be able to lay and be supported and held by other mothers, it's such exquisite work. Kamia is the one that put together this piece of work and invite me to be part of it. And it's I have to say, it's a work also for me, because it speaks to that part of my soul that is a mother. And it needs to be held and it needs to share.
Yeah, wonderful. And I'm not sure if you've given me a link for that, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes.
No, I'll send it to you, of course.
Okay. Thank you. And Thirak, what do you think was the hardest decision that you had to make on your journey?
Well, I probably have a few hard decisions to do, like when I left everything in Mexico and just went to live a different life, in India, and traveling and completely changed my life and trust that something will happen and open up for me. But I feel like what I feel really close right now, like what is real for me, it's stepping more into doing less work, which I love and is my passion. And I absolutely, something happened in my being that experience so much joy through the work I do. But to start trusting the simplicity and finding the right balance to be with my son, because he's 4 years old and it's so much happening there. So it's like really interesting to trust my heart and trust that the rest is there when I'm ready to take on more and more and more. And I'm so passionate about what I do. I absolutely love to be with humans, remember who they are. It's such a gift. But I feel like it's a strong kind of movement that I'm having into trusting that simplicity of witnessing the person that was entitled to me to raise, and to witness that and to bring my energy there. And I still work, but I'm not working like I was before. I still have my private practice, but I've been trying to retreat a little bit from so many groups at the moment. So that's a challenging decision, that how we talk about, like my personality structure is like, what are you doing? It's to really trust my being, and this is appropriate in this time of my life. And it feels very sweet and relaxing when I follow that call. And I still have the opportunity to do some work with people, in my private practice for now. So that's what I'm facing now.
Yeah, thank you.
This journey is always full of challenges and so many gifts from every challenge of every stage we're facing as human. Yeah.
And thank you for coming on Beyond Turning Points today, Thirak. And when I think of you, there's something I think of you, and it is the passion for life, and the passion for the work, and the passion for helping other people find that passion in themselves. So I want to acknowledge that in you, and thank you for your contribution to my life so far, and also for coming on and sharing your experiences.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for your trust. And yeah, I can say the same. I feel your passion, and we recognize each other in that. We love that part, and it's true. I love humans, and doing this work with you, it helped me to wake up and remember who I am. So it's a very delicious way of remembering to be human. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you. Much love.
Congratulations, you made the end of the podcast. Thanks for staying with us. We'd love to hear your comments and insights. If you have any, please feel free to do that in the comments box below, and press subscribe, ring the bell. It's always wonderful to have an audience that come back, and your insights in the comments are valuable to other people. So please feel free to share those, because the insights that we have, we're human, and it's all part of the human experience. So your insights go to adding value to others. So please feel free to comment. If you're interested, I have an amazing inner critic quiz that I've set up. And in that quiz, you explore aspects of your own inner critic which may be blocking you from taking action, or self-sabotage, or feeling not good enough, or perfectionism, or imposter syndrome. And what you do is you go, you answer the questions, it takes less than 3 minutes, and what you get is firstly your result, which has 6 aspects of the inner critic and how you rank on those aspects. And the other piece that you'll get is straight into your inbox is a 20-page report, and it's personalized to you. So it'll have your results, and it'll have the 6 aspects and how you're ranked for those aspects, as well as strategies for working with those aspects of the inner critic. I've tried to create a really valuable tool for you, and feedback is that it's a fantastic tool. Check it out. Would really love to hear what you think of that tool, and also it's proving very powerful. I'm getting lots of feedback that people are saying, oh, I was stuck on this and I did the quiz, and now I see that I was caught up in self-sabotage, and the strategies to how to work with that are there, and people are using those strategies and moving forward. I'd love that for you too, if you're feeling that you're blocked in some way. Sending my love. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell. Love for you to click on the inner critic quiz and get something out of that too. See you again sometime.